But we got to talk about something serious. So here we go.
I believe I called this straight down the middle that Vince is out.
So you called it straight down the middle, my ass. Vince McMahon, every wrestling podcast did a breaking news 4 or 5 days ago about this. And by the time you hear this, 2 weeks ago, every podcast, all I did was text Doc a screenshot of a tweet, and we're going to talk about that now, but there was no, hey, you want to get on and record? Because we were like, let all the other people talk about this like it's breaking news. We're going to do what we do here on BTT and have the discussion when we have the discussion. Now, sometimes we have done some breaking news stuff, but it was stuff that mattered, like when New Jack passed away, Tracy Smothers passed away. Like, we kind of recorded that immediately. With Tracy, actually, he passed, I think, the day before we recorded. So, but with New Jack, we did a special episode that Friday night. We had to we got down and talked to it. This, I'm not going to call this breaking news, but we do need to discuss it. Vince McMahon retires, but we're here to tell you Vince McMahon is not done with WWE. You did not call it down the middle. I actually called it right. You didn't. Doc, what are your thoughts on Vince retiring, but he ain't done yet?
I think it would be, I think we're going to have a couple of takes here that all these other podcasts haven't had. And then we're going to have some that, I think everybody's thinking. But in the end, I think you can say Vince screwed Vince.
I think there's something to that.
And at the end of the day, I think I heard your little buddy TGBL say, in the end, what brought him down was going public.
I caught the YouTube version of that. I ain't listened to the whole show, so I don't know what else they would have talked about with that. He nailed it with that because you and I have talked about how the wrestling business is carnying it up. And if this is not a publicly traded company, Vince McMahon can just tell these allegations to go blow themselves. He can just say, whatever, I don't care. He can just stomp around and say, whatever, do something about it. Because it's a publicly traded company, that was the nail in the coffin. But he's not done. We're going to get there shortly. That's what did it. Publicly traded company. He kind of had his hand forced. I want to know, from the board, who finally got through to him, though. I do want to know that, and I want to know what was said to force him to quote-unquote retire. He ain't retire. He resigned. Let's be real. The retiring is just a fake. That's just lingo, okay? That's just
so
a
hold
word.
On. Let me clean up some of this nonsense here and get you back on track.
Please.
In the earnings filing, it was a resignation and it was not a retirement. That's important, probably, because he probably that changes his go home pay. And this is where I think all of this comes in. It's not that anybody gives a shit what he stuck his dick in as the shareholders. They don't care. It's how the money's being accounted for. And so at some point, the shareholders like, wait, you're giving some paralegal that you're boinking $300,000 a year. That's our money. Give us more dividends. Stop paying her, pay us. The other thing is there's certain accounting principles that now have to be followed once you're a corporation. You can't just move money from under the mattress to up in the ceiling tiles like you're an old territory wrestling promoter. And
keep going.
There's some, if you don't, now I ain't gonna say everybody's doing everything above board in every corporation, but at least they understand the rules of that game and they're playing those rules. I think Vince is exposed somehow, and the terms are he'll go quietly so he doesn't go to jail. Now, is he done? No. Come on.
Well, go ahead before we talk about.
And the other question is, who's moving on him?
Yeah, I agree. Who's moving on him?
Because the first thing they did was we're going to investigate ourselves. And you know that if the LSU Tigers investigated their own football program, they'd be like, man, the only thing we found was a bunch of awesomeness. I mean, it was pretty cool. So, yeah, we're good.
Anytime anybody says we're doing an internal investigation, that just means they're doing some internal BS. Okay, let's be real.
Sure. Nobody's honest with themselves but me.
All right. So I was trying to look up the article that came out right before the quote unquote retirement. And I want to stress something you said. So you said it wasn't a retirement, it was listed as
A
resignation.
resignation.
Right. So I think I read it after the quote unquote retirement, big air quotes, that they had uncovered that the books weren't straight and they were basically refiling their books and accounting for the money that wasn't there and things like that. That's a problem with a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
So,
well, if here's the thing, and I heard this one time in business, and boy, it cut to the bone in the room I was in. But when you think about it, it's real true. I saw a big time executive tell a younger employee, cut him to the knees, said, "Look, if I don't believe one of your numbers, I'm not going to believe any of your numbers."
yeah, because if I find
And
one thing
so
wrong,
the
then
second
I've
you get
lost
funny
trust.
with the second you get funny with a number, what else are you doing?
But Doc, you said at the beginning of this, I'm not talking about the last time we talked about it when this first came out. Vince, Johnny Ace is gonna fall on a sword. It ain't gonna be
But here's
Vince.
the difference. Here's the difference. So
No, you said he's gonna make it.
well, here's why he didn't.
But you
Nobody
said he
could
was
have
going to.
predicted. Nobody could have predicted that Vince, through probably a combination of ego, dementia, and stupidity, mixed the streams of money.
What a buffoon. Take the moral part out of it.
Vince screwed Vince. I mean, again, he could have skated through some irregularities and some improprieties. But the minute the money started getting messed with and they have to, on the filings, bro, somebody's got to pay for that. And the question for me is his, are the people that are moving on him, is it Nick Khan or is it familial?
I just think it confirms they're gonna get sold now for sure.
Well, here's the other take. Everybody who's like, oh boy, we've been waiting for this day because now everything's going to get better.
I tell you whatever. Yeah, no, it ain't.
No, it's not. And
Right.
here's the other thing. I would wish that it would. That'd be great. I would love to watch better wrestling. But to be honest, the only real good period of WWE, WWF I've ever liked was that late 90s stuff. And so they've never been the wrestling company I want to see. So why do I care? Really?
Well, no, you care because deep down inside, you don't want this wrestling business to go away.
It's not going to go away. Here's the thing. Would it be even better if it did get sold and it doesn't it's not wrestling anymore and we don't even go under that pretense and there's something else and they're bigger than AEW, but AEW becomes the biggest wrestling company. But there is no way it's just going to get better.
Nah, that whole is gonna get better. Is I don't know why.
There's too many corporate controls. There's too many things that are in place to make sure there's no heat. And I don't care. Triple H may do a good job with some things. He may be an improvement, but this thing ain't set up to bring you kick-ass wrestling. That ain't the goal. So who cares? Now, what I want to know is, now I think Vince is going to figure a way back in. And the reason why?
Back into what? WWE?
Yeah.
Okay.
He ain't got nothing else to do but figure a way back in.
Okay.
So if somebody came to you or me, I don't know, let's say the show got interrupted right now and said, we're going to give you, for whatever reason, you're going to have $15 million. Are you ever working another day in your life?
It depends if you consider BTT a job.
No. It would start with me having to get paid once, but I'm talking about shoot job blues. Now I got 15 million, not before taxes. That's what you're going to clear. You got 15 million in the bank. Are you ever going to work again?
Like I said, as long as you don't consider BTT a job,
I'm not okay.
There's a lot of work. Hold on. There's a lot of work that goes into BTT. No, I'm not working again. I'm not working again. I work for myself, but I'm not working for anyone else.
That's even harder than working at the shoe job.
Well, I consider BTT working for myself. That's why I say that.
Okay. I guess I have to be super clear here and break out my crayons.
No, you don't have to be super clear. BTT is a job. Like, it's a lot of work.
Trust me.
Editing, watching shows, taking
dealing
notes,
with the minutes
editing,
on the air,
posting shit.
I get it. The point is, you and I are guys that could make a living out of doing nothing as long as there was enough interest off the investments coming in to I ain't gonna get bored. I go take a nap. If I'm bored, I'll go take a nap. I'll read a book. I'll watch some wrestling. I'll go outside and stare at some clouds. And Vince ain't built like that.
Yeah, he's not.
This is his thing. And he's a control freak. And now he had spent 40 years building an ecosystem that he could control, and that everything bent to his will. Now he's released into the real world where you're just he's rich and he's famous, but he's a 77-year-old ex WWE guy.
So that's not.
I mean, I ain't trying to be mean, and I'm not trying to be. This is a level question here. What are the odds that if he can't figure out a way back into WWE, he doesn't change his last name to Von Erich?
Oh, come on.
I'm not trying to be. I'm serious. Like, this is the thing he loved, and it's been taken away from him. He doesn't have a wife anymore. His family is at the place where he wants to be. What's he going to do? He's going to be miserable.
Okay, I think he's going to be miserable, but when I started this out, we were talking about why Vince isn't done. So I don't know what Vince does officially. Like, and when I say officially, like, oh, there's a press release, Vince McMahon's going to be doing X, Y, and Z. I don't know what that looks like. But there is no way on God's green earth that he doesn't have a bat phone to Triple H, Stephanie, and whatever other minions he's still got in the company. And there's no way, especially if Bruce is there. Oh, God, that clown. Bruce, what a freaking, he's a minion if I've ever seen one. If those folks are still there, which they are, we know Stephanie's going to be there. We know Triple H is already there because believe he's head of creative. Stephanie's the co-chairperson or co-CEO, whatever her title is, with Khan. Man, there's no way he isn't on the phone rattling their ears off about what to do, how he wants it done. Now, again, that's unofficial. He doesn't have a position with the company.
Let me ask
Technically,
this.
he's
Let me ask
Vince
you this.
McMahon, though. You think he still doesn't have influence? It's his freaking daughter
Unless
that's
she's the
still
one that,
there.
unless she's the one that moved on him.
Now,
Let
I
me
wouldn't
ask.
put that past her because she looked like she got a little evil twinge in her eyes sometimes.
So let me
And
ask you
Paul
this.
Levesque, that's a backstabber. That dude is not to be trusted. He might have been the one turning the knife too, talking about "I love you, Vince" at the same time.
Are you
Bruce,
done?
no, he's a bootlicking trustee. Continue. I'm sorry.
I was trying to ask you a question here.
You know I'm
Do-
salty. I was salty before we got on there.
I know you have real personal problems. We need to make BetterHelp a sponsor so that you can get like some free sessions.
You know, somebody's gonna think we took money from them. And I ain't against what they do. I'm not saying that, but please don't plug people without us getting paid for. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So does Vince still have an active ID card that he can access the property? Because
I don't know, but I bet you he can get one with ease.
normal people on their last day have that kind of thing terminated. So is
He can
he
get
just
one
up
with
there
ease.
walking around kind of, hey, what's going on? Oh, don't mind me. I'm just here to, I'm just up here today.
He can
And
get
then
one
he's
with
up there every
ease.
day.
I'm sure he's up, Doc. You answer that question. What do you
Well,
think? I
okay,
think
so
he gets in at
I don't
ease.
know, but here's my question. Today was Tuesday. Yes, last night was Raw. He's used to being at Raw. He's getting ready for SmackDown with everything else he does. What did Vince do today?
What did Vince do today? He called Paul and Stephanie and Bruce and wanted to know what was going on with the show and all those good things. There's no
So
way
I
he
think
doesn't have a bat phone to them.
my thing is I think Bruce is not long for this world because I don't think what I've read is that he and Stephanie don't get along.
Yeah, they've said that for years. So I agree. He's
And
not
if you
long
want to
for it.
talk about somebody who's his inside guy, I'd say it was Kevin Dunn. Again, I don't know that Kevin and Stephanie get along. There's a common denominator brewing there. Um, the biggest thing that I would love to see come out of all of this is that that Kevin Dunn leaves and they stop doing that damn camera shake thing for every move to cover up the fact that people can't work.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing ever. I hate that.
It makes me borderline nauseous to watch because I get motion sickness.
Yeah,
Um,
terrible. It's
Here's
terrible.
the thing. I don't care. Like I'm more interested in Vince, the crazed, insane person, and interested in I'm interested in how Jerry Jones acts with people. I can't stand the product he puts on the field. Kind of the same way with Vince. Like I'm intrigued by his whole insanity, but I don't give a shit about the wrestling because more times than not, I haven't liked it, and I don't think he and I agree on what makes a good program. So okay, who cares?
Okay, you didn't answer the question though.
Okay, what's the question?
So outside of doing something officially, is
What did
he
he go down
really
to? He go down
done?
to the park today and toss some bread to the birds? Did he go to the store and get him a nice cheese spread? I mean, did he have a chicken breast and work out? Um,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
What did he
mean,
do?
there's a
Like,
scene at the end of the TV show The Shield, and the main character, basically does a tiptoe through a minefield and avoids going to jail and flips on everybody he knows. And basically, they punish him by saying, you're no longer in the field. You're going to do paperwork all day long. And the second you don't do it, or the second it's not right, we revoke all of this and you go to jail. And he's just sitting there. He's out of the action. And the show ends with him just looking out at the streets, and this is his new life.
Burger King thing.
And that's I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not even trying to crack a joke, is that the only thing that this guy's really cared about, and when you work that job sometimes, for all my people out there that work in the service industry, you get into that social scene where it's like all the people at the bar hang out together and they go on, or the restaurant or whatever, they hang out together and it becomes this little ecosystem. He's built that for himself for the majority of his adult life, and it all catered to him, and now it's not there. I mean, that's got to be like having like children die in his world. So he's either figuring out how to get back in, or I'd keep, take away his key to the cooler to walk in.
Yeah. But so the question still becomes, is he really done? And go ahead.
We're both, you ruined me by bringing me into this. You were already ruined and it's gotten nothing but worse. There's no part of us that thinks he's done.
I think he's 77. Okay. He's officially done.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's on the books, on paper, he's done.
Mm-hmm.
But unless there's some big, huge revelation that all of this never happened. I mean, look, you never say never.
He's done like your cousin Jamal's done, snorting drugs.
He's officially on paper done. The problem is when you're that type of when you're that influential in your industry, and whether you agree with Vince's vision of pro wrestling or sports entertainment is actually irrelevant to what I'm about to say. When you're that influential in the industry of pro wrestling, unless you are in prison for a heinous crime, I don't know how he's actually done, because he's not, it's not like he's locked up and has no access to many of the people that are still in that, not only that business, but his company. Like, again, he's got the phone numbers to Stephanie, to Triple H, to all these people that are there. What do you think? They just not going to answer his calls?
Here's the other thing.
That I got some cheap swampland for sale worth millions in Louisiana.
Unless an executive of that magnitude dies, they don't just take him out on Friday and say you're done. There's a transition period where, the two executives are overlapping and working together. So there's some of that. My thing is this. It's like when somebody dies, your friends and everybody's checking on you for the first couple of weeks, maybe a month, 6 weeks. It's what happens after that. It's a long life. And what happens after, when it gets quiet for him?
I don't see how this dude just lets it get quiet. That's
there.
That's
and what does that look like? Now, in my fantasy world, he walks out on Dynamite this week and says, "Stephanie, you no good bitch." Wouldn't that be awesome if he worked Tony out of his company? Hey, let me come on and pop a number, and then worked Tony out of his company and took it away from him.
Dude. Okay, remember how during and after the Monday Night Wars, it was like, oh my God, this is wrestling's resurgence. because we had gotten past the territories and we just had 2 large companies, and 3 if you want to count ECW as one, but you really had 2. Dude, if he walked out on Dynamite and cursed out his daughter.
The only thing that would make it better is if they were in on it and working Tony out of his company.
See, now you're getting conspiracy theory. But if he walked out on Dynamite and cursed out his daughter and said, if you wanted a war, God damn it, you've got a war. And I'm now the 30%.
And then took a pizza cutter to Moxley.
I'm still the 30% owner. I'm now the 25% owner of AEW, damn it. But let me tell you something else that, people aren't talking about with this. He's still the majority shareholder, and he's still, because of the shares he still actually has voting power in that company, like the majority.
I bet the committees now that he's on, the board of directors committees are now meeting every day. Like, hey, wait a minute. We used to meet like once a quarter and talk about these things. Why does Vince have us meeting every day?
I'm just saying, like, I get that he's quote unquote retired, but this dude is way too influential. Again, whether you like him or not, and Doc and I
don't think it's
that product.
I think it's insistent.
That too. That's part of it. Doc and I are not the people who beat the WWF and Vince McMahon drum outside of Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, to be frank. We don't, but we give credit where it's due.
I like that fella Calloway. He had a best gimmick.
Calloway had the best gimmick ever, But this dude is influential, man. You can't just say, I mean, it's not like he died last Friday when he quote unquote retired.
And I don't think it's like he's going to go quietly into that good night.
I don't either. Yeah.
He may have to regroup and come up with a plan. So when you say, what did he do today? That's what I think he's thinking is, how do I flip the table upside down and cause chaos? And then in the ensuing chaos, get back where I need to be.
Bruh, we preaching the same message right here. Maybe a little bit differently, but we're coming to the same conclusion.
Now, here's the real question. And this gets to the heart of everything. Is he rooting for his daughter to be successful for the WWE, or is he rooting for her to fail so they come back to him?
Vince seems to be a very shrewd business person. And let's just look at how he cried foul when he thought WCW was using tactics that they shouldn't have been using, such as giving results of his pre-tape shows away live on television. But yet, at the same time, he went and destroyed all the territories. The man is shrewd. You don't destroy the territory system without being shrewd and just devious. I wouldn't put it past him to be like, I hope it fails. God damn it. They're so small compared to me.
Well, that's the thing is, for him to be great, the great man theory, he's the only one that could do it.
Right, he's the only one that could run it like that.
And so if somebody else could do it, yeah, well, it was my progeny, so okay. But in reality, it is. I told you I'm the reason.
It's a new day. Yes, it is. Boom. We clapping. Boom. No,
what's wrong with you?
It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new time. Now, as I say that, I don't know if there's a wrestling resurgence. I think what we have is what we have. I will say this. I watched the beginning of Raw on July 25th, and boy, Roman Reigns told Theory or Austin Theory something like, you ain't shit. Daddy's not here to get your back for you. And, well, I ain't been watching it, but the body ain't even cold when Reigns said that. So there's that.
Okay.
Not that it matters, but, and, there's this other thing. There's been all this talk about, they're going to go PG-13 again. Bruh, they're a publicly traded company. Call me. I hate to be like this, but I'm like, Mercury Morris from the 72 Dolphins. Don't call me when you're in my city. Call me when you're on my block. Bruh, when they show me that they're going to be more cutting edge, then I'll listen. Until then, I don't want to hear nothing about they're going to be PG-13.
Why don't they call me when Elias is back to being Elias?
Yeah, what did they do to that dude? I just saw that. He ain't got a beard no more.
No, they just completely. Here's another guy. When
Why'd they
Eli
cut that
Drake
dude's
can be
nuts off
Eli
like
Drake,
that?
when Eli Drake can be Eli Drake again, let me know. Because now they got
Oh,
him.
yeah.
He's like Max Dupree running some male model thing.
Oh, God. That sounds riveting.
It's terrible. I mean,
All
he's
right,
out there
Doc.
looking like, I don't want to do this.
Any other thoughts on Vince McMahon before we get into the
We will
video? I'm
continue.
sorry,
We
the
will continue to monitor this situation
cover
and
the
not
event.
do breaking audio as needed.
Sounds good. Well, on that note, we are going to start covering World Championship Wrestling from February 23rd of 1991. We hope you enjoyed the Vince McMahon portion of the show that we discussed here and his retirement / resignation, and we made the case for why he was not done.